Okay, this is kind of part 2 to the previous video that I just did about starting out making a basic quilt using a quilt panel. And my husband had questions that maybe other people might ask. He is my cameraman. So I'm going to kind of go over this again as far as doing the edging. Pretend you've sewn all your squares, your bears, whatever you want to sew around. You've done all that and you have your backing on there. And now you say, you know, this is sewn right here. What do I do with these edges like this? I'm going to pretend that I'm going to use my backing fabric to come over. So what I would do, I would trim off a little bit excess fabric right here. And as you see right here, my batting is not even. I would just trim it down. Okay, so then I'd kind of tuck this fabric right here under. Then bring over my backing fabric. Say it was blue or red or whatever. I would pin this in place, pin it in place all around the quilt. And then when I sew it down, I'm not going to sew on the outer edge. I'm going to sew closest to the inside of the quilt, right along here, and sew as straight as you can. Because if you choose, if it's for a boy and you don't want to put lace on it, you know, how you've sewed this is going to show. When you get to your corners, just like any corners, whether you're doing ribbon or not, you'll see you kind of have to put this edge in place, put this one in place, trim the edges, and kind of miter your corners. But say I would sew the whole quilt around the edge like this, then if it was appropriate, I would probably take a more narrow ribbon or lace than this, ruffled, and then I would sew it right on top of the seam that I just did, and it makes the quilt look real girly. So, so that was that. Then the other thing was, going back to this quilt that I had done, the question was, what is this white thing? This white thing is a quilting frame, and you see my needle is still in this fabric. Whoops, I'm going to have to undo that. But here's my needle. I had been hand quilting all of this. And as I was telling you, when you sew this baby quilt with the machine and you want it to kind of puff out, if you look at this that I've done by hand, you look here and see where I've done the hand stitching around the flag, and it looks kind of, it made the flag kind of puff out, versus this Liberty part. I haven't sewn around it and doesn't give it that puffy look. Also in the back, minus the water stains, you see where I've done the stitching, and it makes it look, the hand stitching really makes it look like a old school quilt. But that's what this frame is, and you can see how neat the actual part when you're sewing around, that is the quilting of the fabric, and it kind of makes the flag kind of stand out. Plus, when this is washed, it's not going to come apart, you know, the batting, because it's all sewn down to it. So anyway, that was it, and if you have more questions, just let me know. Thanks for watching.